I hit the highway before sunrise, coffee shaking in its cup, playlist loud and hopeful. This year's family reunion felt like a reset, a chance to show up steady and proud. By the time the resort signs popped up, I was smiling at nothing. The first hugs were real, at least they felt that way. Aunt Linda squeezed me like I'd been gone a decade. My cousins lined up for quick hellos, then eyes started to shift. Small talk turned thin. Jokes about late bloomers landed a little too hard. I kept my voice calm, kept my hands from tightening around my bag. We gathered at the check-in desk, all casual and chatty. The manager had a neat stack of room packets, each labeled in bold letters. My name sat at the bottom, like it had waited there on purpose. Keys went out one by one. Balcony suites, king beds, lakeside views, lots of oohs and ahs. Then mine, room 104 in the basement wing, next to the laundry and the humming ice machine. It smelled like bleach and old carpet. The window faced a wall. The bed squeaked when I set my bag down. They called it fair. They said I was used to simple. Someone laughed, not with me. Old stories got pulled out, the kind that shrink you if you let them. I did not make a scene. I took a breath instead. I looked at the humming ice machine like it was a dare. Because here's the thing, I knew something they didn't. I came prepared not to fight but to flip the script. If they wanted me in the worst room, fine. Give an underdog a corner, they turn it into a stage. By sunset, the tone would change. And when it did, it would happen right where they least expected it. Why my family picked the worst spot for me? Room 104 was not random. It was a choice with fingerprints on it. I could feel the old pecking order before I set down my bag. Praise floated up to the balconies. Teasing drifted down to the basement. I read the room like a map. I did not call it out. Not yet. I logged every look and joke like clues at a crime scene. If you have ever walked into a setup, you know the weight. It sits on your shoulders and waits for you to drop it. Here is why they picked the worst spot for me and how I kept my grip. The story starts at dinner, with smiles that did not touch the eyes. Signs of favoritism from the start. Welcome dinner set the tone. The cousins clustered by the window, comparing keys like trophies. Aunts dipped closer, whispering about balconies and hot tubs. Uncles laughed about how the suites had fruit baskets and upgraded pillows. My packet sat near my plate, plain and quiet. I said nothing. I watched. Room 104 told the rest. Dust sat in the corners like it had tenure. The ice machine rattled every 15 minutes. The vent hummed like a fridge. The bed, narrow and squeaky, tilted a hair to the left. No view, just a concrete wall and a stray spider. These little tells matched a pattern I knew. Grandma praised the shiny ones. My wins got framed as luck. Their perks felt earned. Mine felt optional, so they put me where sound collects and light dies. I kept eating. I kept smiling. I tucked the signs away one by one for later. How past beefs boiled over at the reunion. Old friction sat under every toast. Years ago, Grandpa left his fishing cabin to my older cousin. He said it was for the responsible one. I was the one who fixed the roof the summer before. That choice burned hot, then cooled into a quiet chill at every holiday. Then came Mom's heirloom jewelry. Aunt Linda kept the ruby ring after promising to rotate it among the sisters. She wore it to the reunion welcome and tapped her glass with it. Small, sharp flex. Those choices stacked up so a basement room fit their script. Give the late bloomer the noisy corner. Make it look practical, not petty. I felt the air tighten when I walked in. Every step echoed like judgment. I unpacked slow, kept my jaw loose, and stayed present. If they wanted me boxed in, I would use the box. Pressure makes diamonds. It also cracks masks. Staying calm while they partied in luxury. They floated up to balconies with chilled drinks, and I walked down to the hum of machines. Their laughter rolled through the halls like a parade I was not invited to. I did not chase it. I learned the rhythm of room 104 instead, the squeak of the bed, the steady clank of ice, the whisper of vents. Calm does not show up ready. You build it in small choices. To keep my head straight, I set a few simple rules. No begging for swaps. I would not ask for a trade or a favor. No side comments. I would not feed the gossip loop. Keep receipts. I would note who said what and when. I was not the victim. I was the quiet storm building in the basement. Nights of noise and no sleep. Every creak above me felt like a foot on my chest. The floors complained with each late stumble, a chorus of drinks and inside jokes. Through thin walls, I heard who got the balcony hammock, who claimed the corner suite, and who deserved it more than me. Laughter seeped in like cold air. The ice machine coughed every 15 minutes on the dot, a rude little clock. I tried earplugs, then a pillow over my head. I tried counting breaths. I tried podcasts at a whisper. Sleep came in scraps. My thoughts ran laps instead. I pictured them clinking glasses over fruit baskets while I stared at a concrete wall. The lack of sleep did not break me. It sharpened me. Each restless hour filed down the old story about me being grateful for scraps. By dawn, I made a quiet promise. I would return every petty choice with precision, and I would do it smiling. Fake smiles during daytime fun. Daylight required a mask. I wore mine well. I showed up for breakfast, nodded at balcony stories, and laughed in the right places. At the barbecue, the room talk got loud. They compared views like trophies, waved keys, and bragged about robes that felt like clouds. I flipped the burgers, steady and polite, while smoke drifted into my eyes and covered the sting. I joined the hikes, offered to take photos, and passed around sunscreen. When someone joked about my cozy setup, I lifted a brow and said, "It works." I did not let the bait land. I kept it simple, tight, and tidy. The trick was control. I stayed present, collected small tells, and let them feel safe. A few cousins noticed the shift. They asked if I was fine. I kept my smile and changed the subject. Let them think I was tired. Let them think I was soft. A better story was coming. The secret I kept that changed everything. I let them point me to the basement like I belonged there. I kept my voice even and my smile quiet. But the whole time, I held a secret that sat warm in my chest. I did not need their approval. I had a plan. Room 104 was not my prison. It was my workshop. I walked in, heard the ice machine cough, and felt the click. Like a key turning in a lock I made myself. What I packed that no one knew about. I had a small bag inside my bag. It looked like toiletries, nothing fancy. Inside was a kit I had built over months. I made it for nights like this, when people underestimate you and think it is safe to laugh. This is what I brought. Battery projector, pocket size, bright enough for a wall. Mini speaker, clear sound, loud without crackle. Twinkle lights, warm tone, not the cheap blue kind. Scent tabs, clean citrus, just a hint. White noise clip, kills the ice machine, smooth as rain. Stack of Polaroid film, for a wall of faces by dawn. Snacks that travel well, trail mix, gummy bears, good chocolate. Glass cleaner and wipes, because the wall was grimy. A short extension cord, always needed, never there. It was not clutter, it was intent. I packed it 3 days before the trip and tucked it low in my suitcase. No one would see it, no one would guess. The plan I built in silence. I drew it out on a scrap of paper the week before. Not a timeline, more like a flow. I kept it simple, since simple holds when things get loud. Make the basement room feel like a lounge, not a penalty box. Turn strangers into a crowd with 2 shared wins. Let photos and music do the heavy lift. Keep their comfort higher than my pride. 2 words ran the plan. Invite first. Invite before resentment sets in. Stop the story from hardening. If they will not open a door for you, open yours wider. Turning room 104 into the room everyone wanted. I scrubbed the wall until it could pass for a movie screen. I strung the lights along the bed frame so they glowed, not blared. The white noise clip took the cough out of the machine. The room softened like it exhaled. The projector handled the rest. I cued a folder I had prepped, a mix of old family photos and quiet clips. Kids at the lake. Grandma laughing so hard she snorted. The cousins with bad hair and worse outfits. I kept the volume low. The hallway would hear it and get curious. Then I set the bait on the desk. A bowl of gummy bears. A sign on a sticky note in my handwriting, big and neat. Open door movie night, 9 p.m., room 104. No smiley face, no pleading, just the offer. It smelled clean. It looked warm. It was still the basement, but now it had a pulse. The first hint that it would work. At dinner, I kept my head down, kept my jokes short, and let their noise wash past me. I mentioned the movie night once, casual, like weather talk. I said, I have some old photos queued up. I did not beg. I did not perform. I just planted the seed. Aunt Linda laughed and said, down there? I smiled. Down here, I said. Then I passed the bread and changed the subject. A cousin raised an eyebrow and asked what time. I told him, then asked him about his new puppy. Hook set, line loose. Back in the hallway, the word traveled faster than I expected. I heard whispers. Someone asked if there would be snacks. Someone else said, Polaroids? I kept the door cracked. Let curiosity work. Let the worst room hum like a secret. The moment I knew, I had the upper hand. 9 p.m. hit with footsteps. Not a stampede, just two cousins first, pretending they were lost. They saw the lights, the clean wall, the bowl of candy, and they smiled without thinking. That smile told me the truth. People do not want thrones. They want a place to sit. More came, not everyone and not all at once. Enough. They stood in the doorway, then crossed the line. The room filled slow like a tide. The ice machine coughed and no one flinched. The white noise held. I hit play. The first photo was Grandpa, young and cocky in a boat, sun on his face. The room made a sound I love, a small, honest, unguarded O. Why I kept it quiet until then. Secrets can poison. This one fed me. I kept it quiet because I needed clean fuel. If I had told them at breakfast, they would have taken the wheel or mocked it to death. If I had asked for help, they would have called it cute. If I had hinted, they would have called it desperate. I did not build a trap. I built a table. I set it in the basement so no one could claim it belonged to them. No balcony view, no fruit basket, just a room, a wall, and a night I made on purpose. I wanted them to walk in and feel it, not argue with it. You cannot argue with warm light and old memories. You just sit down. What I was ready to do next. I kept one more piece tucked away. The manager had liked me at check-in after the others breezed past him. I had thanked him by name. He had offered me the small event cart if I ever needed it. I had said, maybe. I knew what maybe meant. If the room hit capacity, I would roll that cart in with ice, water, and a stack of cups. Keep it simple. Keep it clean. Make it easy for people to stay. The secret was never about revenge. It was about gravity. Make a place heavy with comfort and people orbit you. By the time the third clip played, the room had settled. Shoulders dropped. Laughter turned soft. Someone put a hand on my arm and said, "This was your idea." I nodded. It was, and it changed everything. Dropping the bomb and watching jaws drop. The door stayed open, the lights stayed warm, and the photos kept rolling. People lined the wall, sat on the floor, and leaned on the squeaky bed like it was a couch on purpose. The hum from the hallway faded behind the laughter. Every minute felt like a small win. Then I felt it, the perfect beat to say it out loud. If I was going to own the worst room, this was the moment. No anger, no edge, just clean truth with a grin. I stood, let the last clip fade, and let the room breathe. That breath was the fuse. I had watched the old pecking order run laps all weekend. Now it was jogging in place in my doorway, waiting for a cue. I gave it one, soft voice, clear eyes, full send. The moment I claimed my spot. I clicked pause and said, "Welcome to room 104, the only room with a waiting list." A few laughs. Then I added, "They gave me the worst room. I made it the best seat in the house." Someone whispered, "You did this." I nodded. "I did this down here." Aunt Linda blinked fast. Uncle Rob's eyebrows climbed, then kept going. My cousin Danny tried for cool and missed. "Wait, this is actually nice." Another cousin, hand on the doorknob, mouthed, "Wow." The twins said in stereo, "No way." Then came the stammers. "We didn't mean, it was just, you know how the rooms were." I smiled and saved them. "It's fine, sit." Eyes went wide at the old photos, then wider at the open bowls of candy. Someone said, "You planned a whole thing." I shrugged. "I planned a better story." The ice machine coughed. No one noticed. How the room talk turned to regrets. It started with a cough of guilt and a chorus of offers. My oldest cousin cleared his throat. "You can have my balcony tomorrow." Aunt Linda chimed in. "Or tonight, I'll swap. I sleep like a log anyway." Uncle Rob nodded fast. "I can talk to the manager, get you upgraded." Everybody turned generous in a hurry. I kept the smile and waved it off. That made them push harder. "Let me grab my diffuser. I have extra pillows. I'll bring the fruit basket." Danny tried a joke. "We can run a shuttle from the elevator to your VIP suite." The room snorted. So did I. The flip was almost cute. 10 minutes earlier, room 104 was a punchline. Now it was a sign-up sheet. Someone whispered, "We messed up." I said, "We're good," and pressed play. They sank back in, softer now. A cousin leaned over. "You really owned it." I said, "That was the plan." Lessons from the reunion revenge. I did not get even. I got smart. The basement gave me a stage I did not ask for, and I used it anyway. Here is what I learned when the worst room turned into the best seat. Choose the frame, not the fight. They wanted a scramble for status. I picked a frame that made status boring. A clean wall, warm light, and old photos did more than a sharp comeback. Set the scene and the room follows. Let the environment do the heavy work while you keep your voice calm. Quiet prep beats loud pride. My kit looked like toiletries. It was a plan in pieces. Tools beat ego every time. A projector, white noise, and snacks felt simple, but they solved pain points fast. Pride wants a mic. Preparation wants an outlet and a wall. Invite first, then lead. I did not ask for a swap. I opened a door. An invitation undercuts power plays because it removes the win-lose beat. People want to belong more than they want to judge. Start the circle, then guide the tone with small cues like music and packing. Keep receipts, not grudges. I clocked every slight, then used it as design data. Noise, white noise, glares, softer light, cold shoulders, shared memories. Replace the sting with a fix. You do not have to forgive on the spot, but you can refuse to feed the fire. Turn the moment into gravity. One good night can bend a weekend. The room gained pull with comfort and proof, not speeches. If you need a quick playbook. Keep it warm, clean, and easy. Offer something they cannot argue with. Say one line that names the flip, then smile. Revenge tasted better as hospitality. I did not torch their house. I made a better one in the basement. What started as a basement exile turned into a soft takeover, one small light at a time. The worst room at the family reunion became the heartbeat of the weekend, and the jokes on them paid off with smiles instead of scars. The projector hummed, the photos hit like truth, and a quiet room turned into a place people wanted to be. By the last clip, the power plays felt dated. Laughter won. Here is the real win. No yelling, no scenes, no guilt parade. Just comfort, a door propped open, and proof that warmth moves people faster than pride. The cousins who teased pulled chairs closer. The aunts who flexed offered to swap keys. The old pecking order paused in the doorway, then stepped in like it always belonged. We did not rewrite the past. We wrote a better chapter, and we did it down the hall from the ice machine. If you came in for the petty twist, you got it. If you stayed for the flip, you saw how it works. Choose the frame, not the fight. Invite first, then lead. Keep the room warm, keep the story clear, and let the laughs do the heavy lift. The worst room was the setup. The best night was the punchline. Thanks for reading and writing the beats with me. Drop your own family reunion plot twists in the comments, Reddit style. Tell me about the worst room you flipped, the quiet win you planned, or the moment the crowd shifted to your side. Share the messy, the funny, the glow-up. I will be in the replies, passing the gummy bears and cheering for every small, smart victory. Let's turn more basements into legends.